A passenger sitting in the back seat called the air hostess to him and laughingly handed over a letter. Only a few words were written in that letter, but these words created panic in the whole of America, and FBI has not been able to find him dead or alive till date. Forget about finding him. America's most powerful intelligence agency has not been able to extract even a single bit of information about that passenger since last 50 years. Let's explore this mystery today. On 24th of November 1971, at Portland Airport, a man who seemed to be a decent-looking businessman booked a ticket from Portland to Seattle and started boarding straight for the plane. The security and the safety protocols in 70 were not as similar as we find it today. Neither was the luggage of the passengers used to be checked, nor was their identity verified. And this was Boeing 727 of Northwest Orient Airline, which was flown from Portland to Seattle, and the total time of flight was just 45 minutes. This passenger boarded the plane and sat on the seat of his own choice, which was at the end of plane. He drank water and also smoked a cigarette. Smoking in the flight at that time was pretty normal, and flight took off at exactly 2:58 p.m. As soon as it took off, he turned back and laughingly handed over an envelope to the air hostess sitting nearby. When she read that letter, it was as if the ground has slipped under her feet, and the words were, "I have a bomb, and I want you to come and sit at my level." Then he opened his briefcase and showed dynamite and detonator. In short, the plane was officially hijacked, and due to lack of evidences, the best speculated name of the hijacker is called D.B. Cooper. And there were a total of 3 demands by Cooper. He wanted $200,000 in cash before 5 o'clock, 2 parachutes, and a refueling truck on the airport of Seattle. Apart from Cooper, there were other 35 passengers on this plane, and these passengers had no idea what was going around in the plane. And the air hostess straight went to the cockpit with demands and narrated the entire incident to the captain. And second air hostess was now sitting with the Cooper with an intercom and was working to convey the message between pilot and Cooper. Before we further explore into this story, remember that this was the first plane hijack in the history of America which was done for ransom only, and no motive for terrorism was found. Perhaps that is why the local authorities and FBI decided that all the demands of the hijacker should be met. Obviously, the authority also knew that they would be having a chance to arrest Cooper during refueling at Seattle airport. The flight, which was supposed to land in Seattle in 45 minutes, now kept flying near the airport for next 1.5 hours. And the other 35 passengers who were completely unaware of the entire incident were told that the plane was facing difficulty landing due to the technical problem. In the meantime, local authorities collected $200,000 from Seattle National Bank, whose serial number was noted, and 2 pairs of parachutes were also arranged from the nearby skydiving club. As soon as the plane was landed, a bag full of money and 2 parachutes were delivered to Cooper. After getting his demand met, Cooper allowed 35 passengers and 2 flight crew members to get off the plane, whereas 2 flight crew members were asked to remain on board. By this time it was night and the plane was in the air once again. And now Cooper delivered special instructions in the cockpit. He wanted the landing gear of the plane to be remained open, and the altitude of the plane should be 10,000 feet, and the speed should not exceed 320 kilometers. And plane had to be taken directly to the Mexico City, and that was not possible due to fuel shortage. So the pilot gave Cooper a couple of options for refueling. On the given options by the pilot, Cooper agreed landing in Phoenix for refueling. On the other hand, local and federal authorities were also doing their work, as the fighter jets were sent behind the plane, but they were not able to maintain such a slow speed. Hence, they started circling around the plane in the darkness of night. Meanwhile, Cooper directed crew members who were sitting to go into the cockpit where 2 pilots and the flight attendant were present, and told them to close the door of the cockpit. The last thing the air hostess saw before closing the door of the cockpit, Cooper was tying something on his waist above. After that, he opened the stair of the plane and jumped from there. What happened from that moment onward is being discussed for last 50 years till today. After the plane safely landed, the complete search out operation was conducted, but nothing was found. This case of Federal Bureau of Investigation is still not closed till date, and no one had seen Cooper jumping from the plane. After the landing, they found the staircase was left open, and FBI kept on searching for the evidences on the plane, but unfortunately they could only find Cooper's tie and one parachute that was left behind, and no one had any photo of the Cooper. And the photo you are watching on the screen now is just a sketch which was made after interviewing the crew members. FBI kept on connecting the dots to resolve the mystery as they found from the flight recorder that the staircase of the plane was opened at 8:10 p.m. and they also marked the location where exactly it was opened. On the basis of all this information, a search operation was defined on the estimated drop location. But on the drop location, the area of 45 square kilometer was surrounded by the dense forest and mountains. But still, the search team searched every nook and corner of this area, but no traces were found. Later, the sketch and the serial number of $200,000 were also printed in the newspaper, and a reward was also promised for giving any information about the Cooper. But the FBI still did not get anything. After about 9 years, in 1980, an incident happened. On the bank of Olympian River, a child was playing with his parents when he found some currency notes, and the total amount of this currency was $5,800. The child's parents immediately went to FBI with this money, and their serial numbers matched with the notes that had been taken by Cooper. And this was the first progress after 9 years of this case. But this incident confused the case even further because the location was completely in the opposite direction of the drop location. Till today, as a solution, FBI only have a tie which they found on the plane and a booking ticket of a plane on which Cooper himself wrote his name, and these currency notes of $5,800, and the remaining notes were never found. For FBI, this case is still open and the entire detail of case is still available on the website for public. Explorer signing off.